is a super upstanding dude, but having barely any coaching experience on his resume is kind of a shocker. Now, we might dive a little bit deeper in another video, but today we are going to answer one of those questions today. What the heck is going on with Indianapolis today?
No idea, man. I don't think anyone knows.
Okay. So, Ron Burgundy and Gold. Matthew, it's great to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Thank you. Doing good. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Now, I think there's a hidden sentiment that you just hate me in the league. Is that accurate or not?
Yeah, because you wouldn't freaking trade me Stephon Diggs, man.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, and I was actually thinking about Adams, and Adams has been good, but yeah, no. Well, I mean, look what happened this week. You know, we got Josh Allen with his injuries, so I mean, if it's super serious,
Trade him now. I'll take him.
I'm not a little.
I'll give you.
I'm
I'll
not
give you
that
Elijah
hot
Moore.
on that trade yet.
Elijah Moore for Stephon Diggs.
You know, that is super fair. For some reason, I don't know why we got so many trades done in the league. You just offered the best trades I've ever seen.
Hey, man, my trades have been working out for me. I got some guys on my team though, but it's my fault that I haven't put them in the best position seed. I think I left a lot of points on the bench. A lot of points on the bench.
Yeah, and that's half the battle in the game, right? But it makes it kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So let's kind of jump into these questions really quick. So what's your take, Matt, on the coaching situation out in Indianapolis with the Colts?
Well, I thought it was kind of fake news when I first saw it. I thought I wasn't really understanding it clearly because usually interim coaches are already on the coaching staff for a football team, right?
Yeah,
they don't really
right.
go out and hire an interim coach. So
Yeah, a
I'm
random guy like
assuming,
off the street almost.
yeah. So I'm assuming this is a permanent hire. I would guess, right? He's probably going
It's
to roll into next season if he does a decent job, which
you know,
who I'm assuming he's not going to do a decent job, but it just doesn't make any sense really any level.
yeah, no, I don't think you're wrong about that take. You know, there's the NFL rule called the Rooney Law, that kind of talks about how you need to when a NFL team's looking for a head coach, they have to interview pretty much multiple nationalities, give them all a fair shot to be able to get a coaching job, you know. And there are some people in the media that said that even though this is interim and the law doesn't really apply as much to an interim head coach, but I don't think you're wrong. I think Saturday is in a position that, I mean, he's only got high school experience. So if he does a good job and they actually are able to turn the team around a little bit, and I think honestly, he only has to win probably a handful of games and just make it look like the team's progressing. Like he could easily lose probably the majority of the rest of the games. But if the fans and the owner and everybody feels like the team is still progressing with him at the helm, yeah, I totally feel like he's almost a shoe-in for the position.
Yeah, I don't even think they have to win a game. I think Ursay is so gung ho on Jeff Saturday that it doesn't
Really?
even matter. It doesn't even matter if they win a game. I think it just has to look somewhat decent on paper,
Yeah.
like just not look like a complete train wreck. And
Yeah.
then Jeff Saturday still has a job because Ursay obviously has some sort of relationship with Jeff Saturday, or else this wouldn't have happened, like a drinking buddy from the past or something. I don't know, man, because
Well, there
that's not a
is
hire that you make.
you're right, but there is a little bit of a relationship. You know, Saturday was the center offensive lineman for between like 2006 to all of Peyton Manning's years at the Colts.
But I'm
So
pretty sure Reggie Wayne's on the coaching staff. Why not do Reggie Wayne then?
yeah, that's a good point. You know, I don't know. I
They must. They
listened
got to
to a
have some
little.
sort of relationship. They must have some sort of relationship. He must be buddy with Jeff Saturday. Honestly,
You know, I think you're right. I think there is more. I don't know if politics is the right word, but there's more relationship pull that's playing into this Saturday role. I mean, I've listened to his review this week, meeting with the team, talking to the players, and I've read some of his story. I didn't realize this, but Saturday when he came out, so he played in North Carolina. and he was taking down. He's on the offensive line, taking down all these first round picks off the defensive line, off the team, and he didn't get picked drafted. He was undrafted. Went and had a little workout with the Ravens. They didn't sign him, and he was actually selling electrical supplies. And a buddy of his who made the Colts bench walked into the owner's office and said, "Hey, all these first round draft picks, there's an offensive guy that I was playing with that was killing them every day on our team in Chapel Hill, and it was Jeff Saturday." And so he's like, "Awesome, let's get him for a workout." And then that's how he actually walked on. He walked on to the Colts and had an amazing career, pretty much protecting Peyton Manning.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a legend for the Colts, that's for sure. But I mean, like to your point about the Rooney rule, I mean, I know how they have to do all of those interviews, but I feel like race side, honestly, anyone, they kind of have like the whole how the coaching kind of carousel works is you kind of have to work your way up from a coordinator, right?
Yeah,
You
I
got to
agree.
put your time in, do like this, be a quarterback coach, then go up to an offensive coordinator, and then kind of maybe get a chance as a coach in the NFL, right? Only 32 positions of those, but if a guy just literally coming off, what is he,
Kind of
just
walking
coaching
off the
high
street a
school,
little bit. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That just doesn't look right to all of the other coaches that are putting in their due time, trying to work their way up, and then it's just
Especially
for an
on the
interim
staff.
coach, they don't even go for someone in the staff. That just looks bad. I don't know. It's odd.
It's an
It really is
odd
weird.
situation. Um, yeah, and I'll dive into this a little bit more and a little more perspective I have on this situation with another video that's gonna be a quick hitter. But I just kind of want to get your take, and that's a very I think it's very on point. And honestly, if I was a fan, I'd be pretty worried about. I just if I was a fan spending money on tickets and stuff, I wouldn't know how I would feel because I just didn't. I don't know if I'd feel like the owner was taking care of the team, or if I was, giving my loyalty, my money, my time, and everything to a team that cared about the rest of us as fans.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting situation. And I think you hit it pretty good on the head. And again, for everybody's watching, I am going to actually make a quick hitter about some other things I think about on the coaching, on Jeff Saturday's coaching position. So we'll look out for that video. Okay, moving on. What do you think has been the biggest disappointments in fantasy football this year?
Your guy Brees Hall was kind of a disappointment.
Well,
But
I
I mean,
mean, he's injury, right? You can't.
injuries are completely different, though. I
Yeah, you
mean,
can't predict
you
injury.
can't really plan for injuries. But
It's
honestly,
hard.
the
It
one that
sucks
stands
too.
out to me is Russell Wilson. I mean, he
Oh yeah.
literally has fallen off a cliff. Him and Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what's going on.
Do you
I
think
have
that
both of them in one
Seattle
of my leagues.
knew? Do you think Seattle actually knew Russell was tailing downhill, and that's why they wanted to make that trade happen? And I mean, look at
They
Geno
must
Smith.
have.
What the heck is going on with Geno Smith? He's killing it.
Yeah, no, they must have known something, man. That's why they never let Russ cook because they're like, he about to burn down the kitchen if he cooks. You don't want him to cook, trust me.
I know. I see. I think the Chargers released like this kind of like anime hype video, and had Russ like putting on this bandana in the Denver stadium on fire, and it just said Russ is gonna cook. Literally, Denver seems to just be a dumpster fire right now, almost.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
It's
And then
crazy.
honestly, Antonio Gibson is another
Mm-hmm.
guy. I mean, they're just not using him at
I just think
all.
the situation out there is weird. I think he's a stud running back.
Oh, he's
It's just the
good.
situation sucks.
They just aren't giving him enough touches at all
Yeah,
because
he's getting
he should
pass
be a
work though. He's getting a
workhorse,
little more pass
honestly.
work though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's doing okay still, honestly. But I mean, he should be doing a lot better than what he is
No,
right
he should be a
now.
bell cow. Like, yeah, I totally
hmm
agree.
I traded Patrick Mahomes for Chris Thompson.
Oh, you traded Pat
You're welcome.
Mahomes.
You're welcome, Dallin. You're welcome.
I didn't know that's how
In
he actually got Mahomes.
in all fairness, he hadn't even played yet. He was a rookie. I traded him as a rookie. I just drafted him because I knew Dallin would want him.
Mm-hmm.
So I drafted him. I just traded him for Chris Thompson.
Yeah, that trade obviously, that's a hard one, but I mean,
Oh
doing that's
man,
not a
I
bad
digress.
strategy. Knowing you got guys in your league that they're NFL team players, they're gonna want them. So
Yep.
for anybody who's a beginner in Dynasty, it's not a bad strategy to go after. But Pat Mahomes, that's a tough trade to
Yeah.
swallow now.
And then another running back, Najee Harris. I don't know what's going on with that, but Najee Harris is just not doing much. I actually just
Yeah,
put in a trade offer with Brooksby. Brooksby, if you're watching,
yeah.
check your trades, man. I think I'm
Brooksby,
offering
he's
Ryan
still fighting
Robinson. I think.
for. I mean, he's fighting for this league this year. So I don't know on how that trade looks, but I know he's. I think I planned this week, and we're not projected that different right now. So he's got a. It's gonna be a close match for my team, which is kind of
I'm just
sad.
saying, I got tricked by the media. They were hyping Kyle Pitts up, man. They're like, we ain't never seen a tight end like this before. This
Yeah.
guy's a freaking beast. He is the best tight end. He's gonna be the GOAT tight end. And I'm like, oh boy, I got to draft this guy before Jamar Chase.
Emotional damage.
I drafted him before
Did you
Jamar
draft him
Chase.
before Chase? Oh man, that's
Yeah.
hard. That's
So yeah.
crazy. No, well,
Now he's
Drake
on my bench.
London's in the same camp right now, man. Drake London is a stud wide receiver, but he's not doing anything.
Yeah, I'd rather have Drake London and Kyle Pitts though. Kyle Pitts gets like 2 catches a game. That's a
Yeah,
joke, man.
that's
He's had
tough.
3 total touchdowns, I think, in his whole NFL career so far. Kyle Pitts.
So I do want to get your take on this week's board rankings. Kind of what's your feelings and thoughts on the recent board released of rankings.
The power rankings,
Yep.
I think they were okay. Personally, I'm a little too low.
I think you got shafted.
Let me explain.
Please.
Who's the number 1 team in the league,
Mahomes,
and who beat him
you
this
did.
week? Yeah, exactly. Very handsomely too, by the way, Dallin. It was I freaking rocked him.
The only two teams that have beat him are actually on this cast right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
So what
You
are
need to
we
be
even
higher.
talking about here? What are we talking about here, man? I'm making a comeback. My team is built to win now.
So what do you want to say to the board after this disapproval on your victory against the best team in the league?
So if we're going off of pure talent on the rosters, I should be like number 2, honestly. If we're just going off, but that's not what we're basing it off of, right? We're basing it off of other factors. But if we're just going off of players, man, my team is deep. My team runs deep. That's another thing. I want more spots, more starting spots.
More
But that's a
starting.
whole other
Oh, of
topic.
course you
That's a
do.
whole other topic. But I think, to be fair, I should be in the middle, definitely over Ryan. But
Ryan's got a tough
Ryan,
team. He's been putting up some
I think
big
Ryan,
points this year.
yeah, I think Ryan's got an underrated team though. I think he's got an underrated squad. He's got some guys on his team though. So I think he might be someone to kind of watch out for. But yeah, obviously Mahomes is number 1, and then Andrews dead last. So
Yeah.
can't really mess up on those ones. But I think there could be some rearranging in the middle areas. Maybe me bump up a little bit more. We'll see how this week's matchup with Trevor goes. I'm feeling pretty confident about it.
So are you suggesting, Trevor and then, commissioner's team to be lower in the rankings?
Oh, for sure. I should be above both of them.
Well,
Easily.
Matthew, shots fired. I'm excited to kind of hear what kind of feedback we get on the comments this week about your opinions and your strong takes on the board.
Like, comment, and subscribe, baby.
There we
Hit
go.
that bell notification.
Okay, Matthew, one more question and then we'll dive into the battles. So for you, why do you play fantasy football?
I play fantasy football just to stay up with the guys, honestly. And so 2 reasons. So first reason, because we're all living in different places now, Eventually we're all going to be in Boise though, but right now we're all in different places.
Exactly.
So it's a good way to kind of stay in touch with everyone, keep things competitive. I mean, we still have our group text going, which is pretty cool. And it's all
It's impressive, actually.
because of so it's all basically because of fantasy league that we got going on, right? So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. And the other reason is it makes watching football more interesting because really the only team that I actually get enthralled with is obviously Washington.
The Manders.
We're just gonna leave it at Washington. We don't even. A side note: we better get a new owner, and I think they should just change the name again to the Red Wolves. Just saying,
That'd be cool.
for many reasons. One reason being we drafted the quarterback Sam Howell. His last name
There
is
you go.
Howell.
Mm-hmm.
Red Wolves. How to the Red Wolves? That's just they blew an opportunity on that one, but that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
Um, no, but yeah, it just makes watching other games more interesting, because I could care less about maybe like the Raiders or something like that. But
Yeah.
I'm like, throw the ball to Devontae, throw the ball to Devontae, and it makes it that much more
A little more
interesting to watch.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. For me, I wasn't really that interested in NFL. I was a lot more of a college fan because, Boise only really has a college team.
Yeah, you don't even have an
There's no,
NFL team.
we don't have an NFL team, so it was kind of tough to try to find like a team that you wanted to be a fan for. So fantasy football made me watch way more NFL, got me really engaged with, you know, the pros. And the cool thing about the NFL is, unlike college, players stay on teams, and that's one strategy is to have players on super good offenses that should be a good offense for a couple years in a row. They stay together, stay on that team usually. NFL changes a lot in the offseason. A lot of trades happen, players get shifted, whatever. But if it
And
wasn't for fantasy
I think that's
football, that's what really engaged me with the league a lot
yeah,
more than just watching like the Super Bowl.
and I think that's why I think I like pros more a little bit more than college for basketball and football. It's just
Yeah.
because I like players more. I'm like drawn to individual players, and with college, it's just like it's more of just like a team. It's like
Mm-hmm.
what team do we have this year? All
Yeah.
new people. But in the NFL, it's specific guys that I want to watch, and same with the NBA, specific guys that I like watching. You know, could be a random team, but like, oh, I like watching that guy. And so same with like fantasy. It's like, oh, I'm watching because of this guy.
Yeah. 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 I think that's cool. I know you probably want to have a little shout out to your boy.
John Wall, let's go.
There he is.
Yeah, we got a lot of good matchups this week, honestly. Um, I think it's a big one for Ryan because it's gonna be an easy victory for him. So he's gonna be at 5-5, and so
Yeah.
that's a big deal in the league. Depending on how my matchup goes, and then your matchup with Brooksby goes. I mean, him being 5-5, and then maybe we take a step back, or if 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 you win 6-4. So yeah, Ryan definitely wants to keep up with that. But yeah, Dirty Mike and the boys, that's a big one for this week because I mean he's got a stacked team though. Is the thing he's got some
He
he's got some
does.
he's got some he's got some people that can bust out like 30 or 40.
Yeah, they
Honestly,
can rip.
he's got like a boomer bust team. I feel like,
Well, I mean, he
and
didn't
so
play
any
Fields
given
last
week he could
week,
beat him.
and he's got Fields on his team, and Fields won 40 points last week.
Hey man, freaking Fields, man, he's the new
What is
Michael Vick.
crazy? Chicago's killing it right now, and they've
Wait, no,
been,
Spencer does. You said Spencer has Fields. Spencer doesn't have
no,
Fields.
no, Ryan's got Fields.
Oh, Ryan's got Fields. Yeah. Yeah, man. I shouldn't have traded ETN. That's the one trade I regret doing.
Who'd you get
Ryan,
on that trade?
I got CeeDee Lamb and Jahan Dotson. So I got some
Uh,
guys. I got some players, but I mean, if ETN keeps up at this pace,
yeah,
he's gonna be a
yeah, he's
stud.
killing it.
He's gonna be a freaking stud. So yeah, that's kind of the one trade I regret. You're welcome, Ryan. Um, but let's see here. Hey, yeah, yeah. And what if Mahomes loses two in a row? Oh, how
What
much
if?
fallen?
Usually that little meme I made for Mahomes should just be playing off and off and off if he loses this week as well, two in a row. Um, so like Dirty Mike and the boys, one from Holmes. What's really hard for me especially with Mahomes, is the fact that the Chiefs were off on the bye and he still put up like 170 points. His team is the Chiefs, so
I
he
know.
still has a really tough team to beat. And it's just disgusting on how good his team can be, even without his best players.
Nolan's team is the Chiefs and the Ravens.
Yeah.
That's half his team is Chiefs and Ravens players.
So they need to play each other and they just all get injured in the game. So I'll be like, oh, my ACL.
Oh my gosh, Ravens players get hurt like crazy. I don't know what it's like in Baltimore, man, but Ravens players just drop down like it's nothing.
Yeah. So I think, I'd like to have Dirty Mike and the boys take this victory, but it is still hard to go against Mahomes this week. I didn't really dive in too much on the battles that these teams are playing against for Dirty Mike and the boys, but I think I'm going to land on Mahomes for my pick. What's your take on this matchup?
For Dirty Mike and Mahomes.
Yeah, who are you going to pick to win?
Papa, papa.
Another not a sponsor, but could be.
But could be. Let's see here.
Okay, who we got?
Hmm.
Well, Josh Allen's on Spencer's team, so if he doesn't play this week, that's a pretty big hit to his team.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like he's got Josh Allen who can put up like 40. Austin Eckler can put up like 30 or 40.
Yeah, well, he's been like the number one running back right now this season,
Kamara,
so
Kamara's done it before,
mm-hmm.
And Fournette. I mean, he's kind of up and down, but he can have some big games.
I'm surprised he's
And
running
then
Thielen. Has Thielen been good this last couple games? T.
he's
Higgins
just
is
been
on
kind of
bye.
like middle of the ground, I think. But let's see. Wait, go down. Did he pick up? Oh, he picked up Zach Wilson.
Oh, he did. Maybe he
He's
has
your
hope.
problem now, Spencer. He's your problem now. Zach Wilson or Daniel Jones? That's a tough one. So just because of that, I'm going with Allen.
Yeah, I think we both. I mean, the fact that the 49ers picked
He's
up
got so many number
McCaffrey,
ones.
he does. He's got so many ones, and McCaffrey is going to end up if he stays healthy and being on the 49ers offense, and they're probably going to play him more than be the committee that we have seen. McCaffrey could easily step into the full RB1 again this year,
sure.
right?
And was it Tyreek? What is? I'm assuming he's the number one receiver, at least in yardage. I don't know about fantasy points, but he's number one. Travis Kelce, number one tight end. Jalen Hurts, Mahomes. I'm sure one of them are number one fantasy quarterback. And then a ton of other complimentary guys.
JT's injured right now, and could be season.
Can you imagine if he wasn't? Can you imagine if he was having a solid season? Yeah.
Especially like last year.
Freaking Debo and Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, that's stacked. Mm-hmm. That's stacked.
He's a tough. There's a reason why he won last year. I mean, he's a just stinking tough team to beat.
And then freaking Dallin, he's like, should I start Travis Kelce, Dallas Goedert, or Dalton Schultz? Got three just like legit tight ends. Freaking Dallin.
Wow, first world problems, Dallin. First world problems.
You suck, Dallin.
Ever since I left the city,
Okay, moving on. My nuts, Zach Ertz, every day I'm wrestling now. This is the throwaway game of the week. Rightfully so, because Andrew went on a fire sale and, he's prepping for the future. So if every day I'm wrestling loses to him, we have to do something to Ryan. Like, there should not be a reason.
What's the spread on this matchup?
70 points? 76. Yeah, almost a 70-point spread. Probably like 60.
Oh, it literally is, huh? I was just throwing a number out there. It literally.
Yeah, you hit it.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I'm gonna take Ryan on this one. Going out on a limb. I'm gonna put every dollar I have on Ryan.
We should make a point spread total, because that's going to make this pick a little more interesting. So I'm going to take Ryan. I'm going to say he's going to win by, I'm going to say he's going to win by 50.
Yeah, something like that. We'll see if Andrew gets up to 70 points. That might be a tough task for him with his lineup.
Okay, moving on.
Decent guys. It's just not big fantasy producers, honestly. Like Jimmy G, decent guy, doesn't produce.
Yeah,
Fantasy
I mean
points,
Jimmy G's
you
been
know.
a Super Bowl quarterback, and he hasn't been a big fantasy producer even on those Super Bowl years, but he took the 49ers to the bowl. So
Yeah.
as a fan owner, that's what you want. You don't give a shit about fantasy points.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Your matchup: Zeke and Destroy, Ron Burgundy, and Gold. So, walk me through what's your thoughts on your matchup this week.
Let's go to the. Can we go to the matchup? Let's click
Yep,
on the matchup.
I'll jump into it.
Yeah, we just skipped. My nutsacker. Ain't no one want to see his team. That's just depressing. We don't want to sadden the viewers.
We do want to keep our viewership
with
up.
This guy. Yeah, exactly. We want to make sure this league is somewhat competitive, and then Andrew's just freaking tanking out there. Should be a penalty for it, honestly.
Hey, I don't go against trusting the process.
Needs to be an investigation. The commissioner, Spencer, you need to be more tight with this stuff, man. You be watching these owners so that they're not purposely tanking. That should be against the rules. Anyways, yeah, okay. First off, Aaron Rodgers down season, Zeke down season. He's got two backs on the same team starting. That's a no. Trevor,
he does.
What you doing, boy? And then Cooper Kupp, I think he got his ankle hurt, didn't he? Who knows if he's playing? Njoku.
Well, Stafford is in concussion protocol right now, right? So who's going to throw to Cooper Kupp?
Oh, Cooper Kupp's not going to get 15 targets with not Matthew Stafford throwing. They just got a connection. If it's anyone else, he's going to get like 5 targets. Then Kyler Murray, disappointment. Jeez Louise. Antonio Gibson on your bench. I try to get Antonio Gibson from him. He just would not trade it to him. He needs to start Antonio Gibson over one of those Dallas backs, honestly.
Yeah,
or Josh Palmer.
I would do that too.
Or Josh Palmer. Why is he starting Josh Palmer? Anyways, but okay, let's go to my team though.
Okay.
Stacked. Tell me a weak spot. There
Mike
is
Evans.
None. The thing is,
Pierce Pierce has overperformed, honestly.
Pierce was a stud. Well, who else do the Texans have? They're just going to hand the ball off.
No, you're not wrong. I think we all thought Pierce was going to perform, but I think he's overperforming than what we were expecting the rookie at Houston going to do, because the team. Yeah, I honestly thought Davis Mills was actually going to be a little bit better of a quarterback this year than he was last year, giving Brandon Cooks a little more of a fantasy relevant season. And we just don't see, they're running the ball. It's through Pierce. That is their offense.
I figured he'd be the lead back at some point, maybe next year, but I didn't think he'd be like, I think the Texans had like 31 carries or something, and he had like all 31 of them. Like they run the ball with a single other person. That's like extreme. I didn't think it was gonna be that extreme of a
No, you definitely have a stacked roster, but if you could take an injury to some of your good guys.
Okay, who do you start? Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Miles Sanders, or St. Brown? That's my dilemma.
I think we're going to land on the same team for this matchup. Obviously, it makes sense for you to pick your own team. I think I'm going to land with your team. I think Trevor's have a hard task, especially with his current lineup. He needs to kind of adjust it a little bit, but even with a better lineup, he's still going to have a hard task taking you down this week. His best hope, I guess, is tough matchups or an injury happening to one of your better players. So,
yeah, I mean, I just hope I started the right people. That's always been my thing, man. I always start the wrong people. I always think I have a decent lineup, but then the guy that I benched goes off, and the guy I start, like freaking Devontae the other week, like 1 catch for 7 yards.
Seriously. Yeah, well, the whole Raiders got shut down in that game. Like, it was disgusting. So, I mean, going forward, I'd be a little concerned, because if teams see that and they do watch the tape on that game, they kind of figured out a little bit what happened. But I wouldn't expect Adams to be that. And the whole Raiders, they're not that bad of a team. They are an okay team, a decent team this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the next game had 2 TDs, one like 150 or something like that. So
Yeah,
he bounced back.
I don't expect him to the Raiders to not have a decent season the rest of the season. So you're gonna take your team. I'm gonna take your team too. So we haven't really differed on any of our picks. Now my matchup, we're projected really close to each other. If I can get a game out of Montgomery, and if Diggs can still put up a good game for me, I think I can take him this week. But I need some players to play a little more than their projection, obviously. And if Jones or Swift actually put up a good game against me, then that's going to be a problem for my team. But it's a big win. I mean, this is a big week for both our teams where records are tied. I need to catch a win to be able to start pulling away to the playoffs, to get that 6-4 on my record. But if Brooksby does it, he's probably should be a higher ranked team. I think the board ranked him kind of low, but his record, if he beats me, he'll have a second best record, I think, in the league right now. So it's a big week for both of us.
Yeah, these teams are pretty even, man. This is a tough one. This might be the game of the week, honestly, for how close it's going to be. I mean, let's see. I think your top guys are topper than his top guys, but I like 2 players from the Bears. That's just stupid. Why do that?
You don't want me to run Montgomery and Darnell Mooney. Yeah, I don't blame
Bears
you
offense is trash. They got lucky last week.
But
they had a good week.
Half my bench is the Bengals, so I wouldn't be running Montgomery or Mooney together. This is the first time I've done it all season. But I don't really have a great Spiller needs to take off Austin Eckler. It's not going to happen unless Eckler gets injured. Lazard's kind of my thought on running against one of those guys. Everybody else is just they're going to sit there.
Start Taysom.
Yeah, Taysom put up a point last week, dude.
Put him in as a running back.
You probably could. I could probably put him in as a kicker. I mean,
put him in
he's
as
done that
defense.
too.
So I'm going to go with Brooksby, even though I think it's fairly even. And you got some top guys that can go off, but I don't trust. I mean, Stafford is a question. Brady is just kind of being meh. And then I don't trust any player on the Bears offense, honestly. And you got Darden. So I'm going to go with Brooksby on this one. I think Herbert's going to have a bounce back game. He's been kind of just middle of the packing for a bit. I think he's going to bust out one. And yeah, I think he's got some solid guys. I mean, can go off. And then I think Derek Carr is due for a decent game too. He's kind of been under the radar. And I think there's some hype about Derek Carr beginning the season. And the whole Vegas team hasn't done anything. But I think they middle of the season, I think they're finally going to come together and get a good game from Derek Carr. I think so. I'm going with Brooksby on this one week. Nothing against you.
Sure.
I like your team.
Sure.
I like your team. Solid team, good team, great team, amazing team.
I'm gonna have to stay close to the news on Stafford because I'm probably gonna have to not play him, so I've got to figure that one out. And then hoping the GOAT can start turning around his season. And I mean, he beat the Rams last week. Did put up some okay fantasy points for a quarterback position. So I mean, I'm not gonna bet against Tom Brady. That's quite the trend of you don't bet against the GOAT because he does figure it out. And I'm just gonna keep on going with that mentality. So I'm gonna take my team. To be not biased, if Herbert, if he can just get one of his RBs to really have a good game, I don't know if I can take him down. Like Jones or Swift, if they come out, because the rest of those guys, D-Hop, Olave, Juju, Jalen, even Derek Carr, I think it's a hard matchup for me, even though I've got Diggs, but Josh Allen's got questions. A.J. Brown's probably one of the best players right now in my lineup. And I got Mooney and Cooper, which both those guys, Mooney's starting, did have a good week last week, and it's just recently. So it's not a lot of history with him this season for having a good relevant fantasy point week. Cooper has really been a surprise on my team. So I was trying to trade Cooper for the last 2 years and nobody wanted to touch him.
I know. I know. I think I was thinking about trading for him too, but I didn't value him this high. That's for sure.
Yeah, so it's one of those just hold guys that worked out on my team. So I'm really hoping it's going to really come to fruition when Watson comes back.
Here's a hot take and an idea. So we need more people for this.
Okay.
Have 2 or 3 people run one team, one fantasy team.
Huh.
I think that'd be more interesting than one person owning their own, because that way you have to work together and say, okay, who should we draft? Okay, who do we start? Okay, da 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 da. And honestly, no one cares about each other's fantasy team. Like I'll talk about my fantasy team, and then everyone else on the league is like, I don't give a crap about your guys. Like I don't even know who you have, honestly. And same with me. I'm like, I don't care about your fantasy team. I just want to talk about my fantasy team. And so if there's like multiple people owning one team, I think that's an interesting thought, interesting idea, more involvement or more just discussion about it. Because like when Ryan comes over to my place and he talks about his fantasy team, I'm like, shut up. I don't care. I don't care about your team.
No, that's actually kind of a cool scenario to think about. I mean, the one thing that we all have to balance with is time, and especially as you get older and you get jobs and kids and families, right? The amount of time you can spend, because that's the only thing that I could see if you had multiple owners in a team, just having that time to chat a little bit, start such a lineup would be a little issue. But I think that's a cool perspective on engaging more of the conversation between people about the team, right? About their teams. Hey, Maitland, welcome to the show.
Said welcome to the show. Yeah, welcome to the show. The show is over. You said the show is over.
Well, it seems like you're getting the curtain call.
Yeah.
Okay, Matthew,
it was stage left.
It was great to have you on the show. Good with the hot takes. Fire shot at the board, and lucky to have you in the league. And you have a wonderful night with Maitland. We'll talk to you later.
Hey, it was fun. We'll see you, Garrett. You ain't see me activated. You better hope that you never see me